We're one Mississippi where there's a magnolia tree. To Mississippi while a mockingbird sings out on its limb. Oh, and what a sweet soulful hymn. I said 3 Mississippi to this land called home. I'll bleed Mississippi till I'm dead and gone. Won't you carry on? I'll carry on. Mississippi, Mississippi. Mississippi.
Hey, guess what? Bob is back, now at 106.3, playing the 80s, 90s, and whatever.
I get knocked down, but I get up again.
Check us out, the new Bob 106.3.
Feeling down? Here's your prescription for a daily dose of good news and positive vibes. Good Things with Rebecca Turner. Every afternoon, Rebecca highlights all the good things happening right here in the state you call home. Daily exposure to Good Things with Rebecca Turner may cause smiling, feelings of positivity, happiness, and even laughter. When you experience these symptoms, tell your friends to listen.
Okay.
Weekdays starting at 2 p.m. here on SuperTalk Mississippi and now on Amazon Alexa devices. Gardening is one of the most popular hobbies in America, with the average gardener spending 5 hours a week in the garden. In Mississippi, keeping a healthy, beautiful garden is practically an obsession. But if you have questions about gardening, there's no better person to answer them than the garden mama, Nellie Neal. So whether it's gardening basics or troubles for the more experienced gardeners out there, the Garden Mama has the answers for you. Saturday morning starting at 8 on SuperTalk Mississippi and SuperTalk TV.
For something new and unique in talk radio, take a listen to The Ben Shapiro Show. Every day, we're driving the debate in America with the fastest moving, hardest hitting, most comprehensive, fact-based commentary on the radio. We don't hold back. We never shy away from telling you the truth. Our show is a meeting place of ideas. We have the most important guests and the biggest thinkers in America.
Weeknights at 9
For something new and unique in talk radio, take a listen to The Ben Shapiro Show
on SuperTalk Mississippi. Whether you're brand new to the DIY craze or a seasoned veteran, the Handyman Show has something for you. Buddy Slowick shares tips and tricks on everything from odd jobs to complete build-outs, from small home repairs to serious construction. So no matter if you're at the master carpenter level or not quite sure how to use a level, the Handyman Show answers your questions with a healthy dose of humor and some great music too. Saturdays, 10 to noon on SuperTalk Mississippi and on SuperTalk TV. What decisions are being made by state lawmakers, and how will they affect you, your family, and community? If you listen, you'll know. SuperTalk Mississippi, the SuperTalk app, and at supertalk.fl.
Hi, I'm Billy Kinder, host of Big Billy Kinder Outdoors. Hear the show Saturdays at 1, right here on SuperTalk Mississippi. Turkeys, whitetail, Grenada Lake crappie, or Gulfport redfish. We enjoy it all, especially when you're in camp with us on SuperTalk Mississippi.
Hey, I'm Steve Azar, and you never know who or what you'll hear when I spend a Mississippi Minute with my friends. We are with the fabulous Norbert Putnam as he played on so many hit records, you can't count them, and produced for some of the biggest acts ever. We got to talk Jimmy Buffett.
One day at breakfast, he says, I started a new song. He says, about a night and a day in Key West, I played a bar and I got drunk, and coming home, I stepped out of my flip-flop, and I just kept going. I stepped on a beer can. And the next morning, I'm up, and I'm hungover, and I'm trying to make a margarita. I got some shrimp boiling. I can't find the salt. I said, Jimmy, I kind of like this. And he said, yeah, I think I'll call it Margaritaville.
In a Mississippi Minute.
Be sure to check out In a Mississippi Minute with me, Steve Azar, right here on your local SuperTalk Mississippi station, and now on iTunes, Google Play, and Stitcher.
If Alexa's part of your life, you've got one more way to access SuperTalk. SuperTalk Mississippi is now available on Amazon Alexa devices. Once enabled, just say, Alexa, play SuperTalk Mississippi at any time and start listening. It's that easy. Just one more way to stay informed and connected with your state. Learn more at supertalk.fm/Alexa. SuperTalk Mississippi. SuperTalk Mississippi. Now available on Amazon Alexa devices.
Hey, guess what? Bob is back, now at 106.3, playing the 80s, 90s, and whatever.
I get knocked down, but I get up again.
Check us out, the new Bob 106.3.
When it comes to the outdoors, we are one. We live in one of the best places in America to enjoy the great outdoors. So let's talk about it. Super Talk Outdoors with Ricky Matthews. Mondays starting at noon. Here on Super Talk Mississippi. Presented by the Foundation Protecting Our Outdoors Heritage. Listen or watch the show anywhere you get Super Talk Mississippi. He's the former president and publisher of the Sun Herald, and now he's on the radio. Welcome to Coast View with Ricky Matthews on Super Talk Mississippi Gulf Coast 103.1.
Welcome to Coast View, the show that every single day celebrates the men and women who are making coastal Mississippi such a great place to live, work, and play. Hey, we have a great show today, but I want to give you a quick update. If you did not catch yesterday's show, or if you've not been to the Coast View Facebook page, you can either go to Facebook or YouTube to see yesterday's show or your favorite podcast, or you can go to Facebook to the Coast View site. You can either watch the show or see the post that I made. But I shared my most recent thoughts about the situation with the Coastal Mississippi tourism effort and the Board of Supervisors. Specifically, the post was about Connie Rocco and what I believe she has decided her legacy needs to be. So if you want to hear what I had to say about that, listen to yesterday's show or go to the Coast View Facebook page. One of the things I mentioned, incidentally, is that with Facebook, you get a lot of insights. So if you have a page up, you can actually look at the numbers, the metrics. You can see how many people have engaged with a particular post. You can see how much sharing and those kinds of things are taking place as it relates to that specific post. As I mentioned yesterday, thousands of people have engaged with the post, and that's a really good sign. I'm hearing from lots of people. I'm hearing from elected officials, from community leaders, from the general public. You can read the comments yourself, but what's interesting about that is that while the cloud that was kind of over coastal Mississippi tourism seemed to kind of go away, I always maintained from the very beginning that nothing was solved, and that the thing that caused ultimately Milton Segarra's departure, that dark side of the commission and the Board of Supervisors was still there. And so I sort of anticipated that it would raise its head again, never expecting that it would do so soon and in quite the way that it did. And in this particular case, Connie Rocco and certain factions within the Coastal Mississippi Tourism Board are what caused that. And, you know, we're going to see a lot. We're going to learn a lot as we see who votes with Connie going forward. It's clear she could care less about what the gaming community, the business community, and tourism regionalism, that she could care less what they think. And we'll see who joins with her on future votes. So you can go to the Coast View Facebook page to learn more. Now let's shift gears. As you know, one of the things I love to do on this show is focus on the military. And I'm really pleased with a good relationship with Keesler and the CB base. And today I've got a terrific guest. It's always interesting to hear the backstories of the people who come through here. But in today's case, I want to introduce you to Culinary Specialist First Class, Sarah Server. And first I'll just say good morning. How you doing, Sarah?
Good morning. I'm well, thank you.
It's good to see you. Hey, look, we're gonna get into what you've done in your career so far, which included, I might add, the White House kitchen, and we'll come back to that. But what I want to just say right off the bat is tell me what you do, and then we're going to take a step back for a little bit and talk about Excelsior Springs, Missouri, and growing up, and joining the Navy and what your experience has been like, et cetera. But what do you do?
So I'm a culinary specialist. So my title is CS1. But on the CB base, I'm actually a cash collection agent. So I don't cook. I just oversee the cash collections that we get from the patrons that eat.
Well, there you go.
It's kind of like an accountant.
Yeah. Well, do you like doing that, or would you rather cook?
I would rather cook, but I do enjoy seeing this aspect of our sales, because I hadn't seen this before until I got to the CB base.
Yes, Sarah, I hear that all the time. One of the beauties of being in the Navy, in this case, is that you get an opportunity to learn and train and learn more and train and learn new dimensions. And that's one of the reasons why so many people who lead the CBs or lead the Navy here in coastal Mississippi, they don't have any trouble finding jobs. I mean, they're extraordinarily well prepared. And listen, I'll mention to the radio audience, if you're watching this on Facebook or YouTube, you know this already. But Sarah's got a beautiful smile, and you can see that she is a good person. People probably very much enjoy being with her and working with her. But again, yeah, you're right. I mean, while your future may be, we'll study what your future may be here shortly, may be involved in culinary services of some sort. It's really important to know the business side, isn't it?
Mm-hmm.
So, okay. So you're from Excelsior Springs, Missouri. Tell me about that.
It's a really small town. Not a lot goes on. We used to have a skating rink, but then that was torn down. It's kind of like homegrown football. You play sports. There's one high school. It's small.
Yeah. Well, if you're looking at the state of Missouri, where is Excelsior Springs?
So if this is the top, we're like right over here.
Okay. So is that? Yeah, go ahead.
So Kansas City is pretty much what a lot of people know about Missouri. Kansas City and St. Louis and Jeff City. So we're like 45 minutes from Kansas City.
Well, that's interesting. My daughter-in-law's parents live in St. Louis. I spent a lot of time in Kansas City when I was in the newspaper business. In fact, the company I worked for owned the Kansas City newspaper.
Okay.
So that brought us there on a pretty regular basis. But I love that part of the country. I mean, did you enjoy growing up there?
It was all right. I mean, I don't really have anything to compare it to because that's where I grew up until I left for the Navy, but I can't complain. You get a mix. You don't really have a mix of cultures, but you get to see a lot of different things. Like you have the city life and you have the country life, and you're in the Midwest, so it's kind of slow, but
so when you got into the Navy, Sarah, and you decided on culinary services, what did you ever expect that it would take you on the journey that you were able to go on?
No, not at all. If somebody would have told me 8 years ago that I would have done, all the things that I've done, I would be like, yeah, you must be talking about somebody else because I don't see that.
That's so cool. That's so cool to hear. So where did you get your initial training done?
So I went to boot camp in Chicago in Great Lakes, and then I went to a C school, which is like our training after Great Lakes, and that's in Virginia. And then they sent 18-year-old me straight to Japan.
Oh, wow. Really? To Japan? Mm-hmm. My son, Jordan, spent some time he was in the honors program at Southern Miss, and one of their study abroad programs was actually in Japan, and he went to Japan. And we just returned from the Dominican Republic, my family and I, and on the way back, he mentioned that he wanted to take his family back to Japan. It was great, such a great cultural experience. Mm-hmm. He went to just about every part of the country, and including Hiroshima and all that. I don't know if you had the opportunity to visit Hiroshima while you were there, but it's a great cultural experience, isn't it?
Mm-hmm. It's completely different. It's awesome.
How long were you there?
I was there 2.5 years.
Wow, that's a long time.
Mm-hmm.
Did you learn any Japanese?
Konnichiwa, which is just hi.
Good for you.
Got it.
Okay, from there, where did you go?
I was sent to San Diego, and so I was on Coronado Island, and I was on the USS Theodore Roosevelt, which was a carrier.
Yeah, we used to have, when I was in the newspaper business, we used to have publisher meetings in San Diego from time to time. And eventually we moved them almost permanently to a place called Half Moon Bay, which is between San Jose and San Francisco, right there on the ocean. But man, the military presence in San Diego is very significant, and
Yes.
that had to have been a great experience.
Yes, it was a lot of fun. It was a lot of fun. It was a good place to come back to the States too, because I've lived in Missouri and we traveled a little bit when I was growing up. But I was sent from Missouri to Japan, then to San Diego. So it's polar opposite essentially.
Okay, so after San Diego, what happened next?
Then I went to the White House.
To the White House. Okay, so that was no small detour. How did that happen, and what did you do there?
So you have to apply to work at the White House. So the White House has what's called a Navy mess. So it is sailors. They do have a few service members from other branches. But when you're up for orders in your rotation, you submit a package basically, stating why you want to go, and you do background checks and everything. And then you interview with multiple people and you get picked up. And
wow. So tell me about that experience. Here's the thing. Usually when you get to experience something new, you have this immediate sort of overwhelming of the senses when you appear somewhere, and then you start to take it in, and then it never becomes normal, but you start to get used to certain elements. I want to know what that initial experience felt like.
You can't really put it into words, because it's like, you're outside, okay, you're walking in, and internally you're like, oh my gosh, like this is where I am, I can't believe I'm here, but externally you're just like walking in, like, good morning. Like, it's not that you can't smile, but the level of professionalism that you have to maintain and military bearings. So it's like internally there's like a party going on, and externally it's very militant and structured, but it's fun. And then in the mess, when you're actually like cooking and taking care of stuff, it's a good time.
We're going to talk more about that on the other side, but I had the opportunity to spend a lot of time with President Bush after Katrina, because I was involved in the recovery effort with Governor Barber. And there was this moment when we were sitting at the Schooner restaurant. They actually commandeered the restaurant, and I was sitting directly across from the president. And we talked about fried seafood and about coastal Mississippi, and I mean, just like two guys chatting about life. And afterwards, I thought, did that just happen? Did I literally just have lunch with the president of the United States and just like two guys having a conversation? It was a terrific experience. But you're right, the coolness on the outside doesn't reflect what really is happening on the inside. Hey, when we come back, we'll continue our conversation with a culinary specialist from the CB base, Sarah Server. We'll see you after this break.
Listen live or on demand and watch episodes of Coast View on your laptop, desktop, or on your phone or tablet by going to supertalkmsgulfcoast.com.
Hey, guess what? Bob is back, now at 106.3, playing the 80s, 90s, and whatever. Check us out, the new Bob 106.3.
When it comes to the outdoors, we are one. We live in one of the best places in America to enjoy the great outdoors. So let's talk about it. Super Talk Outdoors with Ricky Matthews, Mondays starting at noon, here on Super Talk Mississippi. Presented by the Foundation Protecting Our Outdoors Heritage. Listen or watch the show anywhere you get Super Talk Mississippi. If Alexa's part of your life, you've got one more way to access SuperTalk. SuperTalk Mississippi is now available on Amazon Alexa devices. Once enabled, just say, Alexa, play SuperTalk Mississippi at any time and start listening. It's that easy. Just one more way to stay informed and connected with your state. Learn more at supertalk.fm/Alexa. SuperTalk Mississippi. SuperTalk Mississippi. Now available on Amazon Alexa devices. Get the news that matters to Mississippi on Middays with Gerard Gibbert. Middays with Gerard Gibbert. Each weekday starting at 10 a.m., Gerard brings you a spirited debate on the key stories of the day with the newsmakers and powerful reporting on the issues you care about. Listen on your local SuperTalk station or anywhere you get SuperTalk Mississippi. And watch the show live on C Spire Channel 70, SuperTalk TV, and on the SuperTalk Mississippi app. Gardening is one of the most popular hobbies in America, with the average gardener spending 5 hours a week in the garden. In Mississippi, keeping a healthy, beautiful garden is practically an obsession. But if you have questions about gardening, there's no better person to answer them than the garden mama, Nellie Neal. So whether it's gardening basics or troubles for the more experienced gardeners out there, The Garden Mama has the answers for you. Saturday morning starting at 8 on SuperTalk Mississippi and SuperTalk TV. Feeling down? Here's your prescription for a daily dose of good news and positive vibes. Good Things with Rebecca Turner. Every afternoon, Rebecca highlights all the good things happening right here in the state you call home. Daily exposure to Good Things with Rebecca Turner may cause smiling, feelings of positivity, happiness, and even laughter. When you experience these symptoms, tell your friends to listen.
Okay.
Weekdays starting at 2 p.m. here on SuperTalk Mississippi and now on Amazon Alexa devices.
Hey, guess what? Bob is back. Now at 106.3, playing the 80s, 90s, and whatever. Check us out. The new Bob 106.3.
His love for the coast is why he's here. It's Coast View with Ricky Matthews on SuperTalk Mississippi Gulf Coast 103.1.
Welcome back to Coast View. I'm delighted today to have a special guest, Sarah Server, who's a culinary specialist at in the Navy. She works at the CB base, and it's so awesome to hear these stories of where people who come through the CB base, where they've been, and where they're going. As I've said to you many times on this show, people from the CB base here in Gulfport are literally deployed all over the world. Some on military missions, are part of military missions that we don't know where they are, to be honest with you. A lot of their deployments are not publicly known. Many of them are deployed to humanitarian efforts. We often know about what those efforts are, but they come through here and they may go to Rota, Spain, and then go to who God knows where, or they could go to other bases and be deployed to other parts of the country. The world. But it's incredible where they've gone, where they go to from here, and where they've been before they get here. And in Sarah's case, what's so interesting about her story is that when we went to the break, we were talking about she went from San Diego to the White House, literally to the White House, and as a culinary specialist. And I love the way you talked about that, because as I relate to you, I had the same feeling at times when I was around the President of the United States in multiple meetings after Hurricane Katrina. It's you're trying to sort of make sense of the fact what you know about it, what you've heard about it, and now that you're there in the moment, in person, how does that compare to there's a disconnect there. Eventually you resolve the disconnect and you go about doing your work and whatever, but there's it's impossible not to be starstruck by the opportunity to work in the White House. So once you sort of got in there and started doing what you did, tell me about that. What was the experience of working there?
So we cooked for the president, obviously, and then also everybody who is in the White House. So we have 2 dining facilities, and then they have the privilege to come and eat with us. And so it's think of like your number one restaurant in America. You know, it's the hustle and bustle. You're in and you're out. You have menus. You make menus. You know, music's playing, cussing a little bit. There's like so much happening inside the kitchen, and then you look at the grand scheme of things, and it's so much more. You know, you plate up a meal that is going to serve somebody that is going to make a decision that could impact, you know, your family and everybody else in America. So,
well, you know, Sarah, what's interesting to me, and as you know, I'm a former publisher of several newspapers, and what so through the years, I have learned and read a lot about the security that goes around food and how that works as it relates to the president and the people that are around the president. But that's very serious, isn't it? I mean, there's literally no margin for error, is there?
Correct.
Tell me a little bit more about that.
So it's essentially like what we do in the military. You know, when you have patrons that come in, if they have any kind of allergies, you have to make sure that the allergies are known so that, you know, you don't accidentally give somebody an allergy and cause them to have an allergic reaction. And you know, you have to know people's likes and dislikes and where are you at, and you know, your surroundings. It's actually so much more than food, but
yeah. I know that it is. Okay, so how long were you in the White House kitchen?
2 years.
How long?
2.
2 years. That's a long time.
Yes, yeah.
You saw a lot during that time. What, if you look back on that time, what's the thing that most gets your attention?
I think just the fact that I was there. Like when I was coming through A school, when I was in Virginia, we had a senior chief who was like, yeah, I worked at the White House. And I was like, well, hey, that's kind of cool. I didn't know we could do that. And then fast forward 5 years later, it's my turn to be there. So it's just, I still have moments where I'm like, wow, I was really there.
So what about your family and friends? Were they like, Sarah works in the White House? I mean, was it?
Well, you can't really talk about working in the White House when you're in the White House because of the security. But my mom, when I finished my interview, I called my mom immediately. And I think she was at Sam's Club, and she told the cashier at Sam's Club, she's like, my daughter's going to work in the White House. And I'm like, Mom, we can't really like tell everybody that, and you can't just tell random people that. But everybody's been extremely proud, and it's been a cool experience for them to be able to say, hey, look, this is where my daughter has been and where she was at.
And Sarah, I get that completely. And as a father, I would feel the same way as they feel. But here's the interesting part of being in the White House, is that it is a chance for you to really sharpen your skills, because you're talking about, you're working around people who are at the top of their games in what they're doing. And so the opportunity for you to learn and that experience, that will be part of who you are for the rest of your life. I mean, you'll be able to say that you did that for the rest of your life. And that's going to mean something for whatever you ultimately end up doing with your life. It's going to mean a lot, actually. But it occurred to you while you were there that you were working with some of the best, weren't you?
Yes, and I had the opportunity to train under some amazing culinarians, and everybody is active duty that's in there, but it's like the senior chiefs and master chiefs, I had a couple chiefs, even my fellow first classes and a few second classes. It's just the level of skill that each person displays. You can learn something from everybody. Like, working there is really what shaped my confidence in being a culinarian, because you sink or swim and nobody's going to let you sink because the water is rushing and you have to swim. So
wow, I love it. What a great developmental opportunity. What a great experience on so many levels, That's so cool. Okay. So the White House gig was up in 2 years. What happened next?
I chose to come to Gulfport.
Cool. And how has that experience been?
It's been good. It's definitely a lot slower here in Gulfport than DC. DC's a major city. Gulfport, there's always something going on. What did we just have? Where the cars came. So there's Cruising the Coast. Then they had the low riders. Then there's concerts. Like, there's a lot of stuff to do. And I've never actually been down this way. Like, I've always been in the Midwest and everywhere else across the country. But this is my first time, I guess you could say, in the South.
Yeah, I hear that a lot. I mean, if there's a theme from people I've talked to from the CB base, it's been that when you compare the pace or the culture, it's more of a statement of the culture, and it's actually a statement too of Southern sensibilities. We're serious about what we do, but we can smile while we do it. It's not this rush. You got to. In some bases, it's just driving all the time and hard. That's one of the reasons people select. They can go anywhere in the world, but they select to come back here, and that's it's very compelling. And so your experience here has been one that's been very positive.
Yes, it's been good. And I've actually never worked with the CBs before or on a CB base. That's kind of a realm that you hear bits and pieces about, but now being here, you see the work that they do and the importance of it. So it's cool to see another aspect of the military.
Tell me about the Naval Installation Command annual culinary competition in the Great Lakes.
So this is my first time going to a culinary competition, and we will be competing against 16 to 18 other teams across the region, and we'll do what's called a mystery basket. So it's kind of like the TV show Chopped, where you get a basket, you don't know what ingredients are in there, you open the basket, and away you go.
That is really cool. Tell me about your team. Who's on the team?
So I have CSS2 Brown, who I think is in Kings Bay, Georgia. And then I have CS2 Simpkins, who is in Texas. So I have never met either one of these guys. Group chats are very helpful. So we've been talking, hey, what are your strengths? What are some things that you're not so good at? What do you like to do? How do you like to cook? Things like that.
What's interesting about that with the reality shows around Top Chef and all these, different reality chef programs? People are so much aware these days of the culinary process and and what members of a culinary team do and how a kitchen works. All that used to be sort of mysterious. It used to be kind of back on the wall somewhere, but people are highly engaged in that now. So do you find when you talk to people about it that they have a better understanding of what you do and they're more interested maybe today than they might have been a few years ago?
Yes, and I think for me, like cooking is something that I had to learn. It wasn't something that I feel like I was naturally gifted, and I feel like cooking can be intimidating for quite a few people because it's like, where do you start and how do you not burn stuff? But the great thing about cooking is that it can always be fixed. You just have to know how to fix it.
Yeah. No. Hey, so if you were to say there's something very specific that you specialize in, or something you really enjoy doing from a cooking point of view, what is that?
I really like making salmon.
Really?
Yes.
See, I'm a salmon eater. I love fish in general, but if I were to say going to New York and to Europe, and I've spent a lot of time in Florida, I've been all over the country. If I had to say the one thing I order the most consistently, I'll get a steak and so on, is salmon. The salmon, you can overcook salmon. That's kind of the key. You can also undercook salmon. Mm-hmm. So it's finding that sweet spot with salmon is something that most people don't really know how to accomplish. Isn't that true?
Yes, yeah. And it can be intimidating. Like for me, I was like, I don't eat fish. I'm from the Midwest. It's just not a thing that we do. And then once I learned how simple it was and how, to make it myself, I was like, well, I'm going to teach everyone. Make salmon.
Okay, so what's the secret? So
I like to sear my salmon before I put it in the oven. And what's really important when you sear something is that your pan is hot, because it doesn't take very long to get that nice crust on it, and then you just finish it in the oven.
Yeah.
Easy. 1, 2.
We do, and we'll buy the salmon you can get at Sam's, one of those big slabs. Mm-hmm. And they actually are really good. I mean, it's surprising because some come from South America, and God only knows where some of the others come from. But it tends to be pretty good quality. And the key is, with most cases, is not to overcook it. That is for sure. Sarah, it has been a pleasure talking to you. Good luck at the culinary competition. We'll follow up and see how you did. And it's been a great pleasure to talk to you. Congratulations on all your successes. It'll be great to see where you go from here, because I think you've got some big things in store for you going forward. Have a great day.
Thank you very much. You as well.
You bet. We'll see you after this break.
Subscribe for free to the Coast View podcast on iTunes, Google Podcasts, Spotify, or wherever you get your podcasts.
When it comes to the outdoors, we are one. We live in one of the best places in America to enjoy the great outdoors. So let's talk about it. SuperTalk Outdoors with Ricky Matthews. Mondays starting at noon. Here on SuperTalk Mississippi. Presented by the Foundation Protecting Our Outdoors Heritage. Listen or watch the show anywhere you get SuperTalk Mississippi.
Hey, guess what? Bob is back, now at 106.3, playing the 80s, 90s, and whatever.
I get knocked down, but I get up again.
Check us out, the new Bob 106.3.
Feeling down? Here's your prescription for a daily dose of good news and positive vibes. Good Things with Rebecca Turner. Every afternoon, Rebecca highlights all the good things happening right here in the state you call home. Daily exposure to Good Things with Rebecca Turner may cause smiling, feelings of positivity, happiness, and even laughter. When you experience these symptoms, tell your friends to listen.
Okay.
Weekdays starting at 2 p.m. here on SuperTalk Mississippi, and now on Amazon Alexa devices.
These are our friends. These are our neighbors. We all have the power to grow our local economy and energize our community. Shop small businesses and make a difference.
Get the news that matters to Mississippi on Middays with Gerard Gibbert. Middays with Gerard Gibbert. Each weekday starting at 10 a.m., Gerard brings you a spirited debate on the key stories of the day with the newsmakers and powerful reporting on the issues you care about. Listen on your local SuperTalk station or anywhere you get SuperTalk Mississippi. And watch the show live on C Spire Channel 70, SuperTalk TV, and on the SuperTalk Mississippi app. Gardening is one of the most popular hobbies in America, with the average gardener spending 5 hours a week in the garden. In Mississippi, keeping a healthy, beautiful garden is practically an obsession. But if you have questions about gardening, there's no better person to answer them than the garden mama, Nellie Neal. So whether it's gardening basics or troubles for the more experienced gardeners out there, the Garden Mama has the answers for you. Saturday morning starting at 8 on SuperTalk Mississippi and SuperTalk TV.
For something new and unique in talk radio, take a listen to The Ben Shapiro Show. Every day, we're driving the debate in America with the fastest moving, hardest hitting, most comprehensive fact-based commentary on the radio. We don't hold back. We never shy away from telling you the truth. Our show is a meeting place of ideas. We have the most important guests and the biggest thinkers in America.
Weeknights at 9.
For something new and unique in talk radio, take a listen to The Ben Shapiro Show
on SuperTalk Mississippi. You know that nowadays, most people go online to look at a business before they spend their money. Are customers able to find you online? With the power of SuperTalk Mississippi Media Digital, you can reach potential customers and get more referral and repeat business. SuperTalk Mississippi Media Digital's highly trained and trusted staff is ready to work with you to help your business capitalize on the power of digital marketing. Call 601-991-2305 or go to stmmdigital.com to get started today.
SuperTalk Mississippi.
Just seems to me people have so much invested in not telling the truth.
When you want the truth.
Simply because it might hurt some feelings.
And nothing but the truth.
Lose some subscribers.
You want the Gallo Radio Show.
I just think in this audience, you still believe that if you tell the truth, you come out ahead.
The Gallo Radio Show.
And if you tell yourself otherwise, you're lying to yourself.
Mornings on SuperTalk Mississippi.
Hey, guess what? Bob is back, now at 106.3, playing the 80s, 90s, and whatever.
I get knocked down, but I get up again.
Check us out, the new Bob 106.3.
We're one Mississippi, where there's a magnolia tree. To Mississippi, while a mockingbird sings out on its limb. Oh, and what a sweet soulful hymn. I said 3 Mississippi to this land called home. I'll bleed Mississippi till I'm dead and gone. Won't you carry on? Oh, carry on. Mississippi, Mississippi.
He's the former president and publisher of the Sun Herald, and now he's on the radio. Welcome to Coast View with Ricky Matthews on SuperTalk Mississippi Gulf Coast 103.1.
Welcome back to Coast View. I really enjoyed that conversation with Sarah Server. To think that she spent 2 years at the White House cooking for the President of the United States and his family and his guests. What a great opportunity that is to learn how to really master your craft. So many interesting people come through the military here in coastal Mississippi. And as I say all the time, so many choose to stay here once they retire or come back here, even though they've gone all over the country and had the opportunity to really settle anywhere in the world. They come back to coastal Mississippi. What a great statement that is about the culture here and the people here. And I'm so thrilled to have this opportunity to have conversations with Sarah and other people like her who can sing the praises of coastal Mississippi and what it means to the people who visit here and the people who live here. Hey, listen, I've had conversations with people at SuperTalk about shows that I might do along the way that involve sort of personal experience. And I had an experience recently, and it's been about a month ago. And I've, kind of sat on, I want to kind of get a better understanding of the situation. And Kim Dillon and others urged me to tell my story. And by doing so, maybe it will help someone else. I actually saw a story in the Sun Herald over the last few days about atrial fibrillation. And I want to tell you a story as it relates to me in that particular heart ailment. About a month ago, my heart stopped for 7 seconds. 7 seconds. Coming out of what was a pretty serious bout, 17-hour bout with atrial fibrillation. Now, AFib, for people who don't know what that is, it's when the top two chambers of your heart literally quiver or have something similar to a seizure. In my case, this ordeal, I've never experienced that before, and it scared the heck out of my family. And I kept thinking as I went through this kind of scary situation that I didn't really need another reminder to live in the moment. I was a former paramedic. I had some real significant incidences in my life that have caused me to learn to live in the moment. Certainly Hurricane Katrina was one of those moments. Finding my own father dead was obviously a very significant event in my life. In the past year, for regular listeners, you know this, that we had a really serious situation occur at my house with my granddaughter Mila, where I had to do mouth-to-mouth on her. And, after a 5-day stay in the hospital and some really great medical care. She's doing great today, incidentally. She's very well and doing well. But when you have these kind of situations, when your heart stops for 7 seconds, it's an amazing opportunity to reflect about living in the moment. You can't do anything about yesterday. You certainly can plan for tomorrow, but there's the very compelling case for taking in your family, your friends, the people who are closest to you. So anyway, what happened? We had an annual reunion, our annual Bohanovich reunion in Miramar Beach in the Destin area. And it was great to see everyone like it was every year. We've done this every year for many, many years. But as I mentioned, my part of the trip was actually pretty eventful. It all started normal. I mean, it was just a normal trip to the Destin area. I always bring my bike. I ride my bike a lot while I'm there. I had over about 4 days span, rode my bike about 60 miles. And, a lot of, fun in the pool, a lot of fun on the beach, playing with grandkids and my nephews, Peter and Nico. You know the drill. But I woke up on Thursday morning, the Thursday morning of our trip, and I felt what is called some premature atrial contractions. The short name for that is PATs. Now, I know what a PAT is because after I got COVID, I have battled some PATs since then. So a lot of tests have been done, and you can live with PATs. And when I'm managing it well, I can really limit the number of times that I actually feel those. But I got up on that Thursday morning, and I felt some PATs, and then suddenly my heart started to race. I mean, literally, it was racing out of control. And as a former paramedic, you know that at one point I was a paramedic and then pre-med and wanted to be an emergency room physician. I remember thinking that I was amazed that I was still conscious. I had a Fitbit watch on, and and I've worn that watch incidentally for several years. I have it on now. Yeah, this is the way I track my fitness. I can track cardiac fitness and sleep at night, the whole 9 yards. But anyway, a long story short, Ann dialed 911. Went to the hospital. They confirmed, obviously, before I even got to the hospital, that I was in atrial fibrillation. And I was having what is called a supraventricular response. Now, my local doctor, Dr. Mullins, said that means that the conductive health of my heart is really in good shape. I've got an electrical problem, but that the conductive health of my heart is in good shape. My heart doctor in Miramar Beach was terrific. I was actually admitted into an ICU step-down unit. They ran a bunch of tests. They gave me some medicine to slow my heart down. And a cardioversion where they actually shock your heart. People who have had AFib or atrial flutter know their drill really well. They were planning to do a shock of my heart at 7 a.m. the next morning after doing what is called a TEE. That's they transesophageal echocardiogram, when they go into your esophagus and look at your heart from behind to confirm that there are no blood clots. Now, blood clots are the major issue with something like atrial fibrillation. And when you've had it for an extended period of time, blood clots can form and they can go to your lung or go to your brain. Lots of bad things can happen. So the AFib, if it's not treated, is a really, really serious situation. But at midnight that night, after 17 hours, I was glad to know that my heart actually converted back to a normal sinus rhythm on its own. But during the process, it stopped for 7 seconds. And it was an incredibly scary thing. Lots of alarms and lots of flashing lights. But a great ICU team helped me understand pretty quickly that, that helped minimize my own anxiety around all this. The good news is no procedure was necessary the next morning. And I had a long conversation with the Florida cardiologist, Dr. Ryan Melvin, about what he calls the weed of cardiology. Atrial fibrillation is one of those things. It's kind of hard to know what the triggers are. And it's one of those things that can impact a lot of people. It's hard to kind of get to the bottom of it. I've watched a lot of videos. I've read a lot about it. I don't have coronary artery disease. I don't have any of the other pre-existing issues. Mine is totally an electrical issue. And most likely there was a combination of things, but certainly there's some evidence out there that says heavy exercise 10 to 15 hours a week, like I've done for 30, 40 years, can contribute. Unfortunately, that's a reality. COVID is a major consideration as well, that people who have had COVID some have atrial fibrillation. So it's not, no issue started with me around premature atrial contractions or AFib until I got COVID, and I've had pretty consistent issues since then. Could be genetic. I could have been genetically set up for it, but at the end of the day, I probably will never know for sure what the cause of it is. I just have to stay on top of it. Now, I have really good local cardiologists, Dr. Paul Mullins and my friend Kelsey Parks Seymour, who is his physician's assistant. They make a terrific team. I had several friends who have been to them. They sung their praises, and now that I've had the opportunity to work with them, they are a great team. I've known Kelsey, incidentally, since she was a baby. My wife Ann and I used to live next door to her mother and father, and when she was just a kid, so I got to watch her grow up, and she's really become a fine young woman. I plan to actually do some shows about AFib in the future, talking with cardiologists. And I have to say that when you go through something like this, it's really scary. It's great to have a supportive family. It's great to have a wonderful wife who really worked hard to support me during this time. But I have to tell you, I keep thinking about that 7 seconds. While it was just a brief period of time, the reality was I was out for that period of time. But then when I awoke, nurses were talking to me. I felt no pain. I had to admit, and I tell you, it was incredibly calm and peaceful, believe it or not. And I keep thinking, when you look at the EKG readout where it was in flat line for that period of time, I said, is this what it's like to die? 1 minute you're here, the next minute you're gone. The next minute you're gone. It all happens so fast. Now, I have to say that I have very strong faith, and I don't worry about the condition. I'm really trying to work hard to manage it, but I'm going to focus on doing the right things, and I'm going to continue my exercise regimen as I go forward. I'll continue to plan for tomorrow. I'm not going to worry about yesterday, but I'm definitely going to appreciate the moment, and not that I needed the reminder. But thinking of those 7 seconds makes me think about my kids and my grandkids. It makes me want to give back to the community through this show as much as possible. It makes me want to count my blessings, and it makes me want to strengthen my faith. So I'm going to take this opportunity to share with you why you should pay attention to signs that your heart gives you, and we'll have conversations with cardiologists in the near future. Hopefully I can get Kelsey and Dr. Mullins to join me at some point along the way. When we come back, we'll visit with Kyle a little bit about his upcoming vacation and the vacation I just got back from the Dominican Republic. We'll see you after this.
You can also listen live to Super Talk Mississippi Gulf Coast 103.1 on your Amazon Alexa devices. Once you've enabled the skill, just say, Alexa, open Super Talk Mississippi Gulf Coast.
You know that nowadays, most people go online to look at a business before they spend their money. Are customers able to find you online? With the power of SuperTalk Mississippi Media Digital, you can reach potential customers and get more referral and repeat business. SuperTalk Mississippi Media Digital's highly trained and trusted staff is ready to work with you to help your business capitalize on the power of digital marketing. Call 601-991-2305 or go to stmmdigital.com to get started today.
Hey, guess what? Bob is back, now at 106.3, playing the 80s, 90s, and whatever.
I get knocked down, but I get up again.
Check us out, the new Bob 106.3.
Get the news that matters to Mississippi on Middays with Gerard Gibbert. Middays with Gerard Gibbert. Each weekday starting at 10 a.m., Gerard brings you a spirited debate on the key stories of the day with the newsmakers and powerful reporting on the issues you care about. Listen on your local SuperTalk station or anywhere you get SuperTalk Mississippi. And watch the show live on C Spire Channel 70, SuperTalk TV, and on the SuperTalk Mississippi app. Whether you're brand new to the DIY craze or a seasoned veteran, the Handyman Show has something for you. Buddy Slowick shares tips and tricks on everything from odd jobs to complete build-outs, from small home repairs to serious construction. So no matter if you're at the master carpenter level or not quite sure how to use a level, the Handyman Show answers your questions with a healthy dose of humor and some great music too. Saturdays, 10 to noon on SuperTalk Mississippi and on SuperTalk TV.
SuperTalk Mississippi.
Just seems to me people have so much invested in not telling the truth.
When you want the truth.
Simply because it might hurt some feelings.
And nothing but the truth.
Lose some subscribers.
You want the Gallo Radio Show.
I just think in this audience, you still believe that if you tell the truth, you come out ahead.
The Gallo Radio Show.
And if you tell yourself otherwise, you're lying to yourself.
Mornings on SuperTalk Mississippi.
Hey, I'm Steve Azar, and you never know who or what you'll hear when I spend a Mississippi Minute with my friends. We're talking to Dale Berra. Take me back to growing up and what it was like in the household with a dad like Yogi Berra.
You know, we grew up with his funny sayings. You know, I remember Dad managing the Mets, and me, Larry, and Timmy are watching the game on TV. And all of a sudden, two streakers run out of the stands on TV, and the camera slips away from them. So when he gets home, me, Larry, and Timmy say, "Hey, Dad, those streakers, what were they, boys or girls? We need to know." And Dad looked us right in the eye and said, "I couldn't tell. They had bags over their heads."
In a Mississippi Minute.
Be sure to check out In a Mississippi Minute with me, Steve Azar, right here on SuperTalk Mississippi, the SuperTalk Mississippi app, and now available on iTunes, Google Play, and Stitcher.
Hey, guess what? Bob is back, now at 106.3, playing the 80s, 90s, and whatever.
I get knocked down, but I get up again.
Check us out, the new Bob 106.3.
When it comes to the outdoors, we are one. We live in one of the best places in America to enjoy the great outdoors. So let's talk about it. Super Talk Outdoors with Ricky Matthews, Mondays starting at noon, here on Super Talk Mississippi. Presented by the Foundation Protecting Our Outdoors Heritage. Listen or watch the show anywhere you get Super Talk Mississippi. This is Coast View with Ricky Matthews on Super Talk Mississippi Gulf Coast 103.1.
Welcome back to Coast View, and kind of glad to get that off my chest about my recent health scare. And got so many great people that support me. Kyle Curley, the producer of the show, Cammie Martin, Kim Dillon, the president of Super Talk. So many amazing people around me. And, you know, one of the interesting things about doing a show like this is that you do have an opportunity to, through your own personal experience, to help others. I mean, when the situation with Mila occurred, we've had some good discussions about the importance of learning CPR and why that's so darn important. And then with, the issues like, exercising and being healthy, and the long conversations I've had with Robbie D'Angelo, I think it is a great opportunity. And now that I've had this heart scare, it's an opportunity to learn more about it, because a lot of people, it's the number one heart arrhythmia, atrial fibrillation. Some people know they have it. Some people don't know they have it. It just depends on how your heart responds to it. In my case, I had, again, that supraventricular response, which means my heart was rapidly beating. And obviously, you can't live with that. You got to get that resolved pretty rapidly. But anyway, let me bring Kyle into the conversation. And first of all, thank you, my friend, for all your support during these times.
Hey, you bet. Yeah, that sounds kind of scary. I've been pretty lucky. I haven't had any problems like that. I did, no, I didn't know even, I have had nothing like anywhere near that experience.
And it wasn't until COVID, Kyle. I mean, in the Sun Herald story that came out, I'm looking at it now. Let me see if I can find, the headline, "No Warning Signs of AFib and Get Treatment Early." But it said recent studies also found that people who had COVID-19 have a higher risk of AFib and other heart diseases. So, we keep learning, man. I mean, of course, COVID's new for all of us, but we keep learning as more science comes out, more studies come out, that COVID has hit us in so many different ways. And I'm probably in that number, unfortunately. But, I've always worked hard to take care of myself, and I'm going to continue to do that. And I'm not going to let this keep me down.
Yeah, I mean, it's pretty much about the only thing you can do. I haven't changed. I between yourself and then a few other friends here and there that's had any type of scare, you always kind of take stock and then you settle back into your old ways. And I think that's kind of where I'm at, where I just kind of, pray that nothing happened to friends, and then you try and do right. You change your diet a little bit for yourself, and I'm still not exercising as much as I want to, but I am exercising more than I was 6 months ago.
Well, that's good. That's good to hear. Hey, and you're back. I mean, I just got back from the Dominican Republic with my family, and you're headed to vacation yourself. It's going to be great to get a breather, isn't it?
Yeah, it is. Going to go stay at my brother's, and we're going to pretty much use that for a central hub and do a series of day trips, a couple hours one way, a couple hours the other way, and get in a baseball game and just have relaxing time, not having to worry about a time clock.
Yeah, where you're going to Tennessee, and you're in the house that you're going to is not far from Knoxville. And the last couple of times that we've been there, we flew into Knoxville and rented a car and went into the, Smoky Mountains and enjoyed all that. But it's a beautiful part of the country, and you'll probably, I don't know if the heat wave is still affecting that part of the country, but you'll probably have at least some cool evenings.
Yeah, I mean, it's kind of warm. I haven't even looked at the temperature. I talked to my sister and my mom, who went a little further up north, and they was up in Illinois, about an hour north of Peoria, and she said, yeah, it was 55 the other night. I think our low was 82. So,
wow,
any type of relief, we'll take it.
Yeah, I'm checking now. I just pulled up just Knoxville, and let's see what it says about the forecast. I mean, it's 86 degrees there now, man. So
yeah, so you can take that.
So for let's see, I'm just trying to pull up next week, but it's not doing it. Oh, there we go. Yeah, you're talking about in the evenings, it's in the upper 60s. That's not bad. Yeah. So later in the week, 66. You're gonna have chances of rain. So I'll take that. I'll take the 60s at night.
Just bring all my stuff and just stay there.
Hey, again, we can do the show from anywhere for sure.
Yeah. Exactly. I can remote in from anywhere. I can do traffic from anywhere. Sometimes I'm doing traffic from the baseball stadium at MGM Park. So that, that's nice.
Man, oh man, oh man. Hey, listen, we had the opportunity to have Jeff Duncan from NOLA.com and the Times-Picayune was on yesterday, and he's usually on Fridays. But we had an opportunity to have him on because he was literally supposed to be off for about 3 weeks doing some writing. He's writing a really important book, and he needed some time away. But we had a chance to visit with him. The opportunity, man, now that the Pelicans have signed Zion Williams, that's exciting, isn't it?
It really is, and it was good to have that taken care of and get it out of the way so now they can concentrate. For the YouTube, Facebook audience, this is how we do time checks.
Yeah, no doubt. We got 30 seconds left and this is over. But look, we're lucky to have Jeff Duncan, and it's fun. A lot of the conversation we have off the air with Kyle, since Kyle does the music in the Superdome, and he also does music for Pelican games, the backup. And so he, a lot of interesting discussions about what goes on behind the scenes. But anyway, thanks for your support, my friend. We'll see you tomorrow.
You bet. Have a good one.
You bet. Take care. Have a great day.
SuperTalk Mississippi Gulf Coast 103.1 on Facebook. Facebook.com/SuperTalk MS Coast 103.1.